Hey, I'm Robert,
And I'm Evelyn.
and this is Talking About It bonus episode.
Yes, we are going to be doing a quick review of um the Tuesday following. So theoretically this should be around July 18th, but if it's not, I'm sorry.
Christmas in July.
It is Christmas in July, yes. Okay. We're trying our best here, guys. We're so busy, but this is our passion project and we enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
And I've picked up another duty at the university. So
mm,
I'm reading seniors projects.
oh, okay.
Bleh.
That's
In a discipline that I don't teach. I mean, I'm a subject material expert, but I
Mhm.
can't tell you the last time I've taught
What
this top
subjects?
political science.
Oh. So what you're saying is you wouldn't be able to judge my senior paper on the mating behaviors of various hornbill species
Why has it got to be a hornbill?
because they've got horns on their
You
bills.
didn't get it.
Apparently not.
I've been Robert.
And I've been Evelyn.
And this has been talking about the cool cards.
Bye. Just a few of the Magic the Gathering Lord of the Rings cards.
Yeah, we both have one pack. I picked up a collector's edition,
And I picked up a set booster.
and I had to go through them to make sure there was no spoiler cards for any of the rest of the book.
Which I'm still concerned how much of the book there is left.
And so there was one card in there that I have removed out of my deck.
Okay. But my deck was fine.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and you said that like just your brief going through them just to make sure there was no spoilers, you were surprised, you were pleasantly surprised.
I really like what they chose
Okay.
to use.
Okay. And I haven't seen any yet, so I'm excited to look into it.
And I think I like the artwork too. And there's some shiny cards in the two.
Ooh.
Shiny, just like the little fish that Gollum catches.
So I was originally going to actually get one of the Masters editions. One, because I thought it would be hilarious if like the single pack we got had the special card that I'm going to talk about in it. That'd be so freaking hilarious if we bought one pack and we got it. But also it's like it has the really nice artwork in it, so that's why I wanted it. But a single pack was $50. This entire Yeah, wasn't going to do that because I don't really play much right now and I wasn't going to use the deck. So, no.
So you're
And
talking about bankrupters of the coast?
right. Basically, the Wizards of the Coast that owns Magic the Gathering, they saw how hyped everyone was for like for this deck coming out, and so they really hyped up the prices and people are not happy. But people haven't been happy with Magic the Gathering in a long time, which we'll talk about when we get to your history of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so this is Magic the Gathering Universe Beyond, which is a non-canon Magic the Gathering set that can be played as like draft or modern, but not in their standard play.
Yeah, they're not usable.
They're not usable in like the standard play,
Right, yeah.
only in like specialty play, because they're not considered canon. And this is called Lord of the Rings: Tales of Middle Earth. Coming up in November, there's going to be a second set out based around the Witch King, but we're not gonna do. We're only gonna do this one. um, it was released June
It's a
23rd.
preview of what I'm afraid they're going to do when they add official
D&D rules.
Lord of the Rings into D&D rules.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so yeah, it was released June 23rd, 2023, and we're currently recording in July of 2023. So it's been out for a while. And and then I wanted to just shout out that I really wanted to try to get a list of the art of like the main artists because the art is always amazing, but I couldn't find a complete list. But I do want to go ahead and say the art direction was by a video Cardigan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, so The set has a total of 281 cards. We only have 10 each right now. But one of those cards, if you have not seen, was a one ring card. There's many of the one ring cards, but they made a special card that's foil full art in the black speech, and they only made one card. It was found about a week after it was released by an anonymous person in Toronto. And so that's been found, but there's still.
By a person that wants to remain anonymous.
I think it's great being anonymous because
I
that's.
know, but there's no such things as anonymous people. There's people who want to remain anonymous.
You know what I mean. Anyway, so the anonymous player wants to remain anonymous because he does want to sell the card eventually, but he wants his safety. Um, But anyway, there are still, as of recording this, several very rare cards that still haven't been completely found yet. That are still going to be worth both money and as well as good playing for people that like to play.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights, yeah. To give you an idea, one person is offering 2.2 million US dollars for this one card.
Yay.
Anyway, so um the only thing else that I wanted to kind of point out is, well, one, I want to hear your reaction to this. One of the things that so they before this they did um a Warhammer version of it as well, which was also non-canon based off of Warhammer.
Did those cost $99 a pack?
Probably. Warhammer's expensive. But the one coming up next is Doctor Who.
I don't know about that.
I can't imagine that they're going to do good mechanics with it. Because the one thing I was going to point out is one of the new mechanics with this pack, as just the last little trivia thing, the mechanic includes like the one ring, where you can have the one ring and it gives you help as you play, but there's the chance of corruption every time you use it, which gets worse and worse, which can actually hinder you during play. So I think it's cool that they kind of added that mechanic in. But anyway, so you go first about your personal history with Magic the Gathering
So
first.
I so I was there in the beginning. I saw things people have never seen.
All right,
Uh,
Gandalf.
and
Hmm?
I mean, I'm serious. I
Yeah.
started playing with the alpha, the beta, and the first expansion set.
Which I want to point out came out the year that I was born. I am as old as this game. I'm older. I'm a few months older.
A- and so it was fun at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. There was one of my favorite cards, my group's favorite cards. I forget exactly what it was called, but it was the picture of this little mild mannered guy,
Mm-hmm.
but he had a lot of power, but
Okay.
like only quickly had a lot of power,
Oh,
and we called him Tim, just like the wizard in Monty Python.
that's exactly where I thought you were going. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, so we,
Oh, I love
as a,
that.
our local group called it Tim, and it wasn't until it became play to win
Mm-hmm.
that me and most of the others in my group stopped playing.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that before because I got into Magic the Gathering much later as a young adult actually, like not even as a teenager. Like I was in my 20s when I originally got into it. Because I heard so much about like your basic disdain for how pay to win it got and how ridiculous it ended up getting.
And then also not, just that, but uh, so when I used to run a D&D group
Mhm.
for the comic book shop
Mhm.
of our friend, uh, we also were in the back playroom with people playing Magic while we're trying to play D&D.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were they're
It got
they were one loud as crap,
yeah.
two immature,
Yeah.
three threw fits,
Yeah.
four they got there before we did, so we would have to chase them out of our space, and they left before we did, so we had to clean up their food trash.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was not a great time.
And me
It,
personally have not seen any other gathering players that have redeemed what I have seen.
right? Okay, so I have a very different history. I will say I know some really amazing people. That being said, there's a lot of not great ones too. So my history is I didn't learn to play until I was in college, and the first time I played, no one really explained it to me. They're just like, "We'll explain as we go," and they didn't, and I was so confused, and so I didn't even try for another year. But then I got really into it, just kind of enjoying just coming up with creative stuff, not necessarily to win, but to just see what I could get away with, kind of thing, like different unusual techniques to try.
Okay.
And I ended up working at a comic and gaming shop of said friend and eventually became the gaming manager. And I would run the different like tournaments and drafts and release parties. And I eventually set up a really popular like commander league that was really fun. But yeah, there's definitely those type of people where just like with anything competitive where they're big babies, they they complain a lot if they don't win. I have known people at other gaming shops that I have also
Flip
been
the
a part of.
table.
Never seen a real flip the table, but I have seen I know one person who would rage quit where during tournaments if he so it was like a best 2 out of 3 for like for each round. And if he lost the first one, he would just rage quit and leave instead of like even trying anything else. Because he's like, I'm not gonna get top prize, so what's it worth? Um so it was a lot of that. Um
And what was really cool when I learned to play,
mhm,
so so I was a chaplain at a hospital, and one of the chaplains I worked with asked me if I heard about this game because he knew I played D&D. I said
mhm,
no. He said, "Well, tell you what, I'll bring my card. I can bring the cards over one night this week. You get a couple of friends."
mhm.
And so I got my two friends, Mike and Buddy.
Okay.
So they started learning at the same time. Mike fell in love with the game because he likes that stratego type stuff.
Mhm.
Buddy liked the game because he liked the randomness of it.
That's me. I love the randomness. I have one deck that's all about coin flips and dice rolls. Oh, it's fun. But yeah, so part of what I did working at various comic and gaming shops is I actually taught people how to play Magic the Gathering, especially kids, because it started with D&D and Magic the Gathering has gotten really popular with younger kids now because they do like that strategy stuff. So teaching people how to play it was actually really, really fun for me.
I, I and I am also a very big. Our microphone just decided to go to sleep.
Yeah, our microphone went to sleep, but it didn't pick up the noise and it hasn't been picking up our little trick that we do to try to place edits. So we'll see if that actually happened.
Okay. But I like Dungeons and Dragons being used in education
Hmm.
and sociology. I know there are psychologists and psychiatrists that use gameplay and so forth. I have a really good friend of mine who owns a comic book shop, and she draws and writes comics. Uh, and her doctoral was about teaching using D&D. So,
Yeah, a lot of middle schools are starting D&D and Magic the Gathering clubs where it teaches them really good skills, honestly.
one of my favorite stories is my son Alex and his friends got involved in a draft game once a week,
Yes. Mhm.
and the guy the teacher that sponsored it
Mhm.
and basically ran the tournament was one of the two music teachers.
Yeah.
Now, this music teacher, whose name I don't remember,
I
off the
don't
top of my
either.
head. He was an ex. I shouldn't say ex-marine
N-
because there's no such things as ex-marines.
right, but he was former
He
Marine.
was a former Marine officer, and the guys absolutely loved him because he had these great stories. He was a really good um, role model
Mm-hmm.
for people.
Yeah.
There's the story that one time that um, somebody was doing something in a hallway, and and the person like just like threw the rest of the soda pop at the guy, and he ran and caught him and tackled him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I want it to be.
That was after I graduated, but I had heard it secondhand myself.
So,
Um, but yeah, great teachers make great people. Anyway, um,
and the
so
opposite is true as well.
oh my god, it really is.
All right, so let's get started with
Yes.
cards.
Okay. I guess I'll start with the first one of mine.
Okay.
All right, turning it over. It is a land. It's a mountain. It looks like a mountain. It's
Yeah.
pretty basic. I
I
mean,
mean,
it's
it even says basic land. It doesn't
yeah,
give a name of a mountain,
yeah, it's
but
just basically a mountain, but
it's
it's cool. It's like,
yeah,
I mean, mountain is red and it's a red mountain, but it has like some like
it's,
blue crystals at the bottom. That's kind of cool.
yeah.
And we're gonna leave pictures on Twitter and Patreon for everyone.
Right. So the first card I'm going to flip over, it's a double-sided card.
Ooh, I'm
Okay.
excited.
So the uh the first side, the first side, it's Orc Army.
Oh, okay. So this is a token card. So it's not a regular card. So that's why they're usually double-sided. Just letting you
Yeah.
know. That's so they're usually double-sided because you can create them in game. But that's a really cool looking
Right.
token. It's a foil
Yeah,
and the
it's
goblins
a
look
foil and the goblins look
bad.
great, and
And bad in a good way.
it's a it's a token creature, but when you flip it, it's food.
But it's oh my gosh, but it's not just any
It's
food,
a token artifact food.
which you can
Sacrifice
also create.
sacrifice this artifact and you gain 3 lives.
Yes. Well,
Well, yeah,
you gotta do
you gotta,
two.
yeah, you gotta you have to sacrifice the artifact plus 2 other cards and you
Mm-hmm.
gain 3 lives.
Yeah.
But but it's a, but the picture is like somebody hanging from a spider web.
Yeah, that's really fun. I like that. That's really fun. Okay.
So, all right,
I like that. All right, my next one. Okay, it's a blue card. Gray Haven's Navigator. It has flash, which means it can go first and stuff. When Grey Haven's Navigator enters the battlefield, scry 1. And scry means that you get to look at the top of your deck for your next card. So you just kind of can start thinking about what's coming up. And then it has some flavor text. It was an old tradition that beyond the Shire stood the Grey Havens, from which at times elven ships set sail never to return. And this art is really cool. It has a elf whose hair is blowing in the wind.
a
That
dark-haired elf too.
yeah, it's dark-haired elf blowing, hair blowing in the wind with a kind of like a
Compass.
it's a compass. It's kind of like hologrammy, but magical. Not hologrammy. It's like a magical compass that made of light from his hand, and that looks kind of cool. And honestly, like I like the scry, and the flash would make sense as well for a Grey Havens Navigator. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, because they just suddenly appear out of nowhere. You don't know they're coming.
Well, they're going first. They're the navigator. They know what's coming up first, and they're going first.
Okay, so my next one is Knights Duarum. They are water. Um, they're
Oh, it's a full art one. So
yeah,
that's a nice,
yeah.
like it's a nice art.
It's a green. I'm sorry, it's blue creature human knight. And whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on the knights.
Oh, and they're already a 3-3.
And they're already a 3/3 to start with.
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
It's hard to get it's hard to get yourself to draw a second card on a turn, but if you're able to like but that's blue. Blue is really good at like manipulating gameplay. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's really
because
fun.
blue represents water, and water can become chaotic. So that's what I like about that. That's pretty cool. I love the art of that.
Yeah, that's a really cool art with the knights. All right, my next one is another blue. Okay. Nimrodal Nimrodal Watcher. It is a creature elf scout. Whenever you scry, Nimrodal Watcher gets +1/+0, which means it only gets a +1 to attack, not to defense, until end of turn and cannot be blocked this turn. Oh, that's nice. This ability triggers only once each turn. So you can only do it once with scry, and that would make sense because it's only like a water card plus one other card, and that's really like that's a nice blue card as well because like you saw with my previous card, like it lets you scry. So that's a really good like thing that you can do in combination with stuff as well. And the flavor text says, but there are some of us still who go abroad for the gathering of news and the watching of our enemies. Haldir. Who's Haldir? Okay, you know. Okay.
I don't recall. So my next card is a character card.
Okay.
It's Aragon. Aragorn.
Aragorn. So say the full thing.
It says Aragorn the Uniter,
Oh,
legendary creature.
oh, so that means that it can be a commander because you can use them for commander too.
Right. So it says,
Oh, I might.
and it's also it's got, and you have to have one of each of the four lands to play it.
That's cool.
Uh, whenever whenever you cast a white spell, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Whenever you cast a blue spell, scry 2. Whenever you cast a red spell, Aragon the Uniter deals 3 damage to target opponent. Whenever you cast a green spell, target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn.
Okay, so before we talk
So
about before
it's a very
before we talk
yeah,
about mechanics, I want to talk about this art real fast. So
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
this great art of him, but circled in that like in Elvish.
Right.
And it's just it's really cool to look at. So this is definitely a fun one that I'll put up. That's really cool. But mechanics wise, this is a really hard one
Right.
because in Magic the Gathering, having more than two lands is really difficult to do. Like two different colors is very difficult to do. And doing all four, I have tried before, and those are very hard decks to make,
Right.
especially commander decks. So this is a great commander if you can figure out how to really balance all four colors. But
Yeah, which makes me wonder if there are cards in the game that allow you to change a land.
we'll see. Yeah, I wonder if it's either change a land or you're able to just, or there's other cards because a lot of green cards allow you to get more lands out because green is very nature based, so they usually have very high level monsters. So you got to get a lot of lands out. That way you can summon those monsters,
Uh,
which is what I usually play. I play a lot of that. My friends like to say my strategy is unga unga, kill kill.
I used my favorite my favorites were um yellow red actually.
Okay.
That a lot of
I'll
fun.
play a lot of just green. Like every combo I have is usually with a green.
Okay, yours.
Okay. My next one. Ooh, it's a black card. Hunt of the Dead.
Haunt.
Haunt? Oh, it is Haunt. I can't read. Haunt of the Dead Marshes. Creature. Nightmare Elf. When Haunt of the Dead Marshes enters the battlefield, scry 1. Oh, that's interesting that a black card has scry. And then for a price of certain cards, return Haunt of the Dead Marshes from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Activate only if you control a legendary creature. Interesting. Before we get into that, it has flavor text. Only mine have had flavor text so far. You should not look in when the candles are lit. Golem. And the art is very clearly a dead elf, very ashen with white hair in the marshes, surrounded by blue fire and lily pads. And it's what it really is like kind of what I imagine the the dead marshes, but like almost nicer.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting that there's a scry on a black card. But yeah, so returning it to the battlefield is nice because that allows you to scry. But only if you control a legendary creature. So that would be like Aragorn card
Yeah.
that you just had.
So
Okay. Yeah,
all right.
I dig it.
My next card is
I saw you reshuffling. You're cheating.
uh, well I read shuffle for a reason.
Okay.
Um
What's your next card?
so my next card is also a main character card.
Okay. There are a lot of main character cards in this deck, which is really cool.
Meridoc Brandybuck. He's a
Yay!
legendary creature. He's green.
Of course he is.
Halfling citizen. And it's whenever one or more halflings you control attack a player, create a food token.
That's hilarious. So similar to the Aragorn card.
What about second breakfast?
Well, we're gonna get
I mean,
second breakfast with this
that's
card.
why it's a food
Yeah,
token.
that's hilarious. Because like with with the Aragorn one, because it's all of the colors, it's in gold. But for Mary, because it's green, it's the same thing where it's this gorgeous like kind of silhouette of him, in the Elvish speak around him, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And that's really fun to have like those to have the hobbits create food tokens. That's just brilliant.
And he's standing in front of a round door.
You know what I just realized?
What?
They're calling them halflings, not hobbits. That's interesting because the Tolkien estate gave them
But it all but it's
permission, but
it's
but
it's
it's Wizards of the Coast that runs D&D, and they legally have to call them halflings, not hobbits.
yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why they did it.
I didn't. I'm glad you caught that. I didn't think
Yeah,
about that.
I just caught that they're calling them halflings, not hobbits.
Yeah.
So yeah, it must be for the continuity sake of D&D,
Yeah.
which would make sense. Okay, because now Wizards of the Coast owning both of them, they're trying to do more integration, which
So
I have mixed feelings about. But
so that's pretty.
yeah, that's a cool
I
one.
love that card. Yeah.
All right, my next one. Ooh. Mine is the Grey Havens as a legendary land. So it's in gold. So what that means is when the Grey Havens enter the battlefield, scry one, a lot of scrying, you can tap it and add a colorless mana, or you can tap it to add one mana of any color among legendary creature cards in your graveyard. So that's really interesting.
So that's going back to my Aragorn.
That's going back
card.
to the Aragorn because the legendary creature has to be in the graveyard. So I wonder if there's a mechanic for that, probably with like Sauron or something. We haven't actually looked at any of this. But yeah, that'd be great. And my flavor text says, there dwelled Círdan, the shipwright, and some say he dwells there still until the last ship sets sails into the west. And I love the artwork. I don't know if you like got a good look of it,
Yeah.
but it's like it's not only the Grey Havens, which is gorgeous, but if you look, all of the ships are ships of different colors of the different lands.
Oh, I didn't know. That's cool.
Yeah,
No,
I know.
not-
Yeah, I noticed that too. I really like that art. That's very well. I'm liking the art so far. It's really well thought out.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like the art and the stuff is like really matching. Because that's what we were both wondering is like, is the art and the names and the mechanics gonna match?
Right.
And so far, I think they are.
Yeah. So my next card is Elbor Flame Strike. Creature Dwarf Artifice.
It's another shiny.
And it's a shiny. So, and it's red. Uh, Whenever you cast an instant a sorcery spell.
Sorcery?
Sorcery. Sauce.
Sorcery spell. It's
So,
what us Italians do.
no, it's when I give you a sauce to go with your soup. A sorcery spell. He deals one damage to each opponent,
Nice.
and the flavor is we make good. Oh, it's so
Do
shiny I
do you need
can't
me to
read it.
read it?
Yeah, we make good armor and keen swords, but we cannot again make mail or blade to match those that our fathers made before us. So that's really cool.
Oh, and it's glowing as well. It said that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but the art, yeah, so put that back down so I can see. Yeah, so it's really cool. It's a female dwarf actually,
yeah.
who is
I
going to town on a blade.
and I can't remember.
But I like the lighting. They get the lighting really well, like where the light source is coming from. That looks really cool.
Yeah, and I can't remember. The name sounds familiar, um, but I can't think of where from. Maybe I'll see if I can find it
Hmm.
and we can put it as a note. Okay.
All right, my next one. Oh, I got green and I got
Ooh,
a legendary creature. Okay, I got Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer. He's a legendary creature. He's an elf noble. Whenever you scry, choose one, and Glorfindel, Dauntless Rescuer, gets 1+1 until end of turn. Glorfindel must be blocked this turn if able. Glorfindel can't be blocked by more than one creature each combat this turn. So that's actually really cool. So you need to so he's only a 3 attack 2 defense, but if you're able to like scry a lot, which this is obviously implying that we're seeing a lot of scry cards, then you can like get hit, like just like with green cards, you can get them up real powerful. And what that means is it's a way to get rid of like tough monsters that are like really screwing up the rest of your plans, because it means they have to block him, and if he has enough to take them out, even if it means taking him out as well, you can at least get rid of the card that's bothering you. So that's a really nice mechanic. That's something that I do with my dinosaur decks a lot.
yeah.
That's a strategy I do with my dino deck. But yeah, the art's really cool. He's on a white horse and he has gold armor with a green cape. And it just looks really cool.
So I actually have. It doesn't say weapon on here, but I'm going to call it a weapon.
Okay.
Field tested frying pan.
You see this?
It's an
Put it down.
artifact equipment,
Oh, I love it. Oh,
and
it's another full art.
yeah, and it's when field tested frying pan enters the battlefield, create a food token, then create a 1/1 white halfling creature token and attach field tested frying pan to it. Equip the creature. Equipped creature has whenever you gain life, this creature gets +X until end of turn, when X is the amount of life you have gained.
Ooh, this is a white card. It
White
looks like.
card.
Yeah, so that's a lot of white cards do that life game. But I love that. The field tested frying pan, and the art is a hobbit, like a fighting hobbit, like just with this cast iron with like some food sloshing around. And
Yep, it's like he just took it. It's like he just took it off the fire because the food is falling
yeah.
from it.
Oh, that's so
That
fun.
that is I like.
And because it's, well, hobbit and halfling related, it's a food token too, which helps you with your life.
Yeah,
Oh, I like that.
yeah, that's cool.
All right, my next one. Ooh, I got the matching. I
Ooh,
got Arwen Undumil. Um, so she is both
who we
green
will
and
talk
blue.
about in our next episode.
We will, yes. She's both green and blue. She is a legendary creature, an elf noble. Whenever you scry, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. And then, oh, it's actually a very high card cost to scry, but you scry 2 with it. But that's basically 6 cards that you got to tap to be able to just scribe 2. I don't know if that's quite worth it. But her flavor text is she was called Undomil, for she was the even star of her people. I don't I don't know if that mechanic's worth it with that high of a price.
You'll have to
I mean,
figure
I
it
mean, it
out.
is scrying 2 versus 1, which is nice. But and then it's like and then it's the added bonus of when you scry, you put the 1/1 counter.
To me, it feels
So
like
it kind of does both.
to me, it feels like a last desperate try type of card.
I mean, it is green, so if you have those lands where you can get a lot of really good lands out fast, it would be worth it because you would scry 2, which works for blue, so you know what's coming up, and then you can do that green thing, which is you add the +1/+1 counter onto a target creature. So for the equivalent of basically 6 cards, you scry 2 and you add that token. So you gotta really make sure you have a lot of lands and a way to get them out fast.
Right.
But now that I'm actually thinking about it, it could definitely be useful. And then the art itself is just, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's in this gorgeous blue and gold dress with this big smile on her face and this gorgeous birch tree, which would make sense if she's, seeing stuff for scrying. All
Uh,
right,
but
your next card.
I have another legendary creature.
Okay.
Okay. Shadrach.
Ooh.
Shadrach, loot bearer.
Okay.
So
So,
he's 2 any, uh, 1 black and 1 red.
yeah, black and red.
Uh, so whenever Shadrach attacks, whenever Shadrach attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment to it. Then amass Orcs X, where X is the number of equipment attached to him. And then the flavor test
Well,
says,
that's not, I don't think that's flavor
no,
text.
no, that's, yeah.
Yeah, this is a
You read it. That's too small for me to read.
okay. Yeah, so this is added instructions about the equipment. So control of the equipment doesn't change. To amass Orcs X, put X +1/+1 counters on an army you control. It's also an orc. If you don't control an army, create a 0/0 black orc army creature token first. So it does clarify, and that's good because sometimes with Magic the Gathering things can be vague, which gets people really hot and bothered to make rulings, which even though I am an unofficial judge as like the person that runs the gaming, I have last say on things, and I've made some rulings that other people got upset with because it didn't fit what they wanted. But though that's good to have more clarification. And that's really fun red black card though. I
Yeah.
love that. Like where you just keep powering him and his army up. That's a lot of fun. I like it.
Um,
All right, and it's shiny again.
it's shiny.
All right. Ooh, I finally got a full art piece. I have a white
No.
rosy cotton of South Lane.
So it's not a main character, but
Is it still? Yeah.
it's Sam's future wife.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry, spoiler.
I mean, I knew that one. But thanks. Legendary creature, halfling peasant. I don't know if I like the peasant part. When Rosie Cotton enters the battlefield, create a food token. Whenever you create a token, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control other than Rosie. So yeah, it's more of a support card. And again, I guess if you mix this with black,
But it is a legendary creature.
yeah, it is a legendary creature. So if you're able to combine it with black mechanics of going in and out of the battlefield, then you could like build up an army pretty fast with those tokens.
And I like the fact that she's white.
The mechanic,
The
not the
mechanic.
character. Clarify that. But oh my god, she has a pan too.
Yeah.
She has a frying pan as well. And she's in like armor and she's got this like terrifying yell. Oh, I love that she has the pan. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so funny. But yeah, White as the card mechanic would make sense for her along with this card. Yeah, I like it.
Okay, my next one it's a little boring,
Okay.
but it's shiny. It's a land. It's a green land. It's it's
Oh.
plains and it's Rohan.
Yeah, so Plains is the name of the White Lands, but that makes perfect sense for Rohan though.
Yeah.
And it's the
I said
map.
green. I meant white. Yeah. Sorry.
It does look green because it does look green with the art.
Well, it does. It looks
Um
green because of the shiny.
yeah, it looks green because of the shiny on it. But yeah, so it's the Rohan um between the Fangorn Forest and the White Mountains and Gondor at the very south, based on those maps. And that's really fun that they have the big map ones.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a basic land, but it's a cool art
You
land.
know what would be really flippin' cool
Hmm.
is if you could collect all the lands and put together the map.
You know, that would be really cool. I wonder if that's a thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because then I have a reason to collect them.
No, you don't need to collect any. Oh my God. You do not want to collect Magic the Gathering. It gets so expensive so fast.
Yeah, but
I
but
know
it's
lots of people who collect and they spend so much
but it's
money.
lands. I can go to the comic book shop and say, "Hey, I need 50 land."
But the problem is you can't buy lands individually. You would have to buy these cards individually that people already found. Though they're still probably like a book, honestly.
Yeah, well, but but sometimes they get to the point that
They
the
only do
shop owners have so many of them that they're
yeah, but
like a
this
nickel a piece type thing.
yeah, but again, one you would have to go through it because the shopkeepers aren't going to do it for you. I can tell you as a shop worker that we are not going to go through it for you. Um, but a lot of these people don't really give up often,
Yeah,
at least not for a few years.
yeah.
Okay, so my next one. Ooh, I got another full art. Oh, okay, so this character actually comes up in our next chapter. Quick Beam, Upstart Ent. He's a high level green creature, which right up my
Oh my
alley.
God,
Oh my
that's a lot of land.
It's a lot of land, but look at his stats here. Whenever Quick Beam, Upstart Ent, or another tree folk enters the battlefield under your control, up to 2 target creatures get +2/+2, and gain trample
Trample.
until end of turn, and he's already a 5/6. So what that means is, so he's
He kicks
coming.
ass.
Oh my God, he does. Like, oh, honey, I think you're gonna actually go in a deck of mine. And he's a legendary creature. Okay, yeah, I adore this because, what? Oh my God, I literally am just already thinking about how I would make a commander deck around him at this point. I'm so serious. Ugh, I need to actually play with my friends when they invite me instead of just sleeping. Uh, I love you guys if you're listening. Um, but yeah, so that's really powerful. So it adds up to 6 lands, but for 6 lands, 2 creatures get +2/+2 and trample. And what trample means is, and as a dinosaur deck girl, I got a lot of trample. Where any so if like let's say that with his basic stats as a 5, if he attacks someone with a defense of 3, there's 2 damage left over, and because he has trample, it goes straight to the life points of your opponent, and that's what you're trying to do is get their life points
Yep.
down. So trample is one of my favorite personal mechanics because unga unga kill kill, as my friends like to tease me about, but I've embraced it and I love it. Um, ooh, uh, yeah, I don't need more commander decks, but I like him.
So
Okay, your next one.
I got this cool little low level creatures. It's
There's another shiny card.
another shiny card is a 1+red. Is that red? Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's red.
red. Yeah, he's red.
1+red. It's a goblin fire leaper. He's a creature goblin warrior. Uh, goblin fire leaper. The
Well, for a
goblin.
price.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's for a price, so 2 cards.
Yeah. The Goblin Fire Leaper gets +1/+0 until end of turn. When Goblin Fire Leaper dies, it deals damage equal to its power to the target creature an opponent controls. So basically, he explodes.
Yeah, he's so red is one of those you do like a bunch of small damage up front to just try to like where it's inexpensive characters that can get out real quick and do some quick damage as people are trying to like build their board
Right.
and their thing around. So yeah, it's a quick throwaway that you
And
can do.
the flavor is a quote from Gandalf.
Ooh,
Let us hope. Okay, let us hope that fire now lies between us and pursuit. Come, there is no time to lose.
ooh, I like that a lot though. That's a fun. I mean, I do have a goblin deck. I haven't used it in a while. Shout out to Cranko. But goblins are just fun. Goblin decks and goblin mechanics are just fun in Magic the Gathering. So I'm really glad that they were able to like embrace that with this. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they already have a lot of experience with fun goblin stuff. All right. My next card. Ooh, I got a Nazgul. It is black. It is a creature Wraith Knight. It has Death Touch, which I'll explain in a second.
Most
Oh,
black
oh yeah.
creatures do anymore.
It's actually not quite as common, but Death Touch is if he does any damage to any creature, even if he dies in the process, he still takes out that creature as well. And when Nazgul enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Oh, so we get to learn about the mechanic because I looked at the mechanic, I didn't actually learn about it. So whenever the ring tempts you, you put a +1/+1 counter on each wraith you control. Ooh, a deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul. That's insane. Because so in everything but commander, you can only have up to 4 cards of the same thing, excluding lands. You can have as many lands as you want. Having up to 9 in a deck, and commander, you can only have 1 of each card in a deck. Oh my gosh, you could do some real damage with going the Nazgul route. That's I've
Now, do you understand why the Eagles are not there?
Yes, I do, especially if they have Death Touch. Yeah, I personally I think they've been lacking on black cards in the last 5 or 6 years. They haven't done much fun stuff with black cards, in my opinion. But this is fun. I like this.
All right. So my next card is, to me, a very cool, interesting card that they put in here.
Okay.
And just fun.
Okay. I've been I just want the listeners to know at this point, I have literally been smiling this whole time. This episode is a lot longer than I anticipated, but I think we're having more fun than we thought we would have.
Yeah. It's the Mushroom Watchdogs.
Oh my gosh, I love them.
They're green. Sacrifice a food. Put a +1/+1 counter on Mushroom Watchdogs. It gains vigilance until the end of the turn. Activate only as a sorcerer. And then, of
It's a
course,
sorcery.
sorcery. And then, of course, we've got Farmer Maggot's quote: "They won't harm you, not unless I tell them. Here, Grip. Here, Fung.
Heal.
Here." Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. And it's
Uh,
another
It's another
shiny.
shiny. It's
Um
they're 2/2s.
that's really fun that you got the watchdogs and it brings into that food stuff.
Yeah.
That's a fun card.
Talking about
Okay.
shout out all the way back to one of the first chapters of
They
the first
they
book.
did some deep cuts here, and I like
I do
it.
too, man.
That's deep cut. That's I if I didn't see anything about a Tom Bombadil card, but if there's not, I'll be
Oh
disappointed.
man,
Though that would be so
don't
overpowered.
make me have to try to collect a card.
Oh my gosh, that would be such. I feel like that would be such an overpowered card. So maybe they wouldn't do it because I feel like if it's not overpowered, people fans of Lord of the Rings would be upset. if it wasn't overpowered. Maybe they could just make it and then just ban it right away.
Unless what
So we
would
do ban cards that are overpowered.
I think what would be cool about a Tom Bombadil card
Hmm.
is um
Maybe it could be a lot of like land summoning. That could be a balanced way to do it, ish.
or it could just, you know,
Or negate the ring
or
mechanics.
or what I'm thinking
That
is
could be
what I'm
interesting
thinking
too.
of is just put all your opponents to sleep for a turn.
Or just do like a skip a turn.
Yes, or skip a
Yeah.
turn, something
Like
like
skip
that.
a turn,
Yep.
take a second turn, something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be yeah. I think okay, so we came up with the mechanics for them.
Okay. All right.
All right, so we're down to just a
For a
couple.
card that we don't even know if it's there.
Right. I'll look it up because I'm definitely gonna look that up now. Okay, so my next card, almost at the end here. Oh, okay. So it's
Oh, wait.
oh, is this a spoiler? That
This
looked like a spoiler.
this might be a spoiler. This
Yeah,
is a
that
spoiler.
looked like a spoiler from
I I
um.
sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't notice it.
it said the only thing I saw was battle, and it looked like a lot of halflings. And now I am really, really worried. I'm really, really worried. Now I know. Oh my god, I think that was a spoiler, and we're not going to go into it, guys. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
because I can only speculate, but
So
oh my god, my mind is whirling.
so flip another one.
Okay. Well, another shiny. So it's a white card. Oh my gosh. Hold on, my dyslexia is killing me with the
The
shiny.
shiny, yeah.
Okay, so that okay. Okay, so it says Westfold Rider. It's a creature human knight. Sacrifice Westfold Rider and destroy a target artifact or enchantment. Activate only as a sorcery. Interesting. That's really fun. And he's really cool looking. He's
Yeah.
on a white horse. Like he's about to like jump off the horse to fight the orc in the corner. That's really neat. I That's a really cool
Did you read
piece.
the flavor?
Oh, I totally forgot to. The flavor is the orcs were greater in number than we counted on. Great orcs who also bore the white hand of Isengard, Eomir, and it does have the flag. The orc has the flag of the white hand on him. So yeah, that's
Shuffled
really
my
neat.
deck again because I want the next one to be the next one after you read that.
Okay, but yeah, I like that. I haven't seen a lot of the white cards. We haven't pulled a lot of white cards in our particular packs. They're always very random. But I feel like honestly, like
They're not.
yes,
Mhm.
yes they are. But okay, yeah, that one is technically something. It looks like okay. But yeah, I feel like from the few I've seen of the white stuff, I think we could have some really cool white stuff.
Mhm.
All right, what's your next one?
So yeah, so I pushed this up front for me to use.
Okay.
Uglook of the White Hand.
That's hilarious. Love
Legendary
it.
creature, orc soldier. Whenever
It's black and red.
yeah, black and red. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Ugar the White Hand. If the creature was a goblin or an orc, put two +1/+1 encounters on him instead.
Okay, and read the flavor text, and
And,
then I'm going to talk about
and
this because I like this.
the flavor says, I am Ugluk. I command. I return to Isengard by the shortest road. So that also might. Ooh, that's okay.
Mm, mm, mm. That made me nervous. Okay. These things are making me nervous now because it's like I've been saying, there's a fair amount of chunk of book left, and I'm like, what is gonna
There is
happen?
exactly, according to my um, according to my Kindle version, there is fif- only 56% of the book has been read.
My
But I think some of the
God, it
pages
looks
it's
like it.
counting though
Oh,
is
might
a
be the
lot of the appendixes.
okay. Yeah, yeah, I did see at the end there are a lot of appendices. Okay. Oh my God, I'm getting so nervous. Okay, so I only have one card left, and it's
How do
just
you
a
only have one
token.
card now?
I don't know.
I got four.
Yeah, that's maybe yours actually had more in it.
Maybe.
I don't know. But yeah, it's just token creature that you can make the human soldier, like a card to have that human soldier with. But it's a really cool one. It's got that Gondor stuff where they're in white and blue with the tree around them. I like that. It's they like even like the tokens have been like really cute, and it looks like we also got and so I'll just this last card. So they do an art. They have an art series. It looks like.
So you get a full card of the Witch King.
So yeah, so it's just an art piece. It's not anything big, but you can like use it in place of a card sometimes because I think they do have a Witch King card. So I have
Hey, that'd be a proxy card.
yeah, so it's the Witch King of Angmar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's him with it's him with his but it's with his fallen steed.
Yep.
The steed has fallen. So it's him right in the battle. That's a cool art piece. I like it. All right, let's do the rest of yours since apparently we did something wrong
Okay.
here.
All right. The Soothing of Schmeagol.
Okay.
It's an instant.
Ooh, instants are fun.
Return target non-token creature to its owner's hand. The ring tempts you. And the flavor says Frodo's heart sank. This was too much like trickery, and certainly what he did would seem a treachery to the poor, treacherous creature.
So let's see the art. It was a shiny. That's why you needed to read it better. Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder you've been having trouble reading them when I definitely had it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the soothing of sneak. Oh, so it's based off of when yeah, so it's based off of when the like Frodo has to get him up when he's with Faramir. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so return non-token creature to its owner's hand, the ring tempts you. So yeah, I'm curious what the tempting of the ring actually does in this instance. It's probably the generic, which I didn't bother to look up.
Yeah.
But that's really cool because returning a creature to its owner's hand, that works with those blue mechanics we've been seeing where you can return something to your hand and return it to the battlefield, which will add extra stuff.
Yeah, and it's a blue card. So, yep.
Yeah.
Okay, my next one
Ooh,
is
another shiny full
yeah.
art.
Earmere, Marshal of the Rohan. Legendary creature, human knight. Haste. Whenever one or more other attacking legendary creatures you control die, untap all creatures you control after this phase. There is an additional combat phase. This ability triggers only once each turn.
Oh.
And it's a red and it's a 4/4.
Okay. So it's Earmere.
Earmere.
From Rohan. That's interesting that they would make him red versus green. I would associate Rohan more with green, but for the mechanics, it makes sense that it's a red card.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's really good for the red mechanics. That's really cool.
Is he the one
And
that
haste is cool because that means because usually you can't play have a monster attack on the turn that it's summoned, but haste means that you can.
I isn't he the one that burnt all the dead bodies?
No.
Orcs.
Yes, yes, he is.
So that's probably why it's
Oh,
red.
yeah, I guess since he's associated with the orcs, because yeah, that's what
Yeah.
that was where the quote was from one of the other orc ones.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so that would make sense.
makes sense for him to be red because he's associated with
Yeah,
it's
with
associated with
the
fire.
goblins and the orcs. Yeah.
Okay, an Uruk-hai Berserker creature. Orc Berserker. It's another shiny.
It's black.
And it's black. When Uruk-hai Berserker enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you.
Okay.
Okay, so what? You're going to have to read
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's a lot. All right. So the flavor text is what of the dawn? We're the Uruk-hai. We do not stop the fight for night or day, for fair weather or for storm. We come to kill by sun or moon. What of the dawn? I like that. That's a fun quote.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's interesting. So I guess the ring tempting you, because can I see that again? So
Yeah,
he so
there must be some
there's got
rules
to be, yeah. So we
somewhere,
really should have looked up what the ring tempting is. Maybe we'll pause and look at that at the end
or you can just
because
add it on as a
uh, or we'll just look
yeah.
it up in a second. But yeah, so it says the ring tempts you, but it's really interesting because he enters the battlefield. So he costs a total of 3 to summon, and his attack is 3 and his defense is 2. So I don't know if that's worth it. I don't know if that's worth the price, unless there's something about the ring tempting you that you're trying to get. That could be
Well,
something
also,
too.
but but a haste card usually costs more to
It's
have,
not
don't they?
haste.
I thought it
It
said
just
haste.
no, it just when he
Oh,
enters the
okay.
battlefield, the ring tempts you. The other one was haste.
Haste, yep.
Yeah.
Right. All right. I'm glad I looked through my deck and arranged them how I wanted to put them out.
Okay. Yeah, it went well with the random ones that I was looking at. Oh,
Bilbo.
oh, that's fun.
Bilbo, retired burglar, and he is a blue red with an extra mana having to be used. Legendary creature, halfling rogue. When Bilbo
And it's full art, which is
it's
fun.
full art. When Bilbo retired, when Bilbo retired burglar enters or leaves the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Whenever Bilbo deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. He's a
Okay.
1/3.
Huh.
So this has been cool. This has been cool.
That's a cool one. And it's him just like with pint, having fun. It looks good. Okay, we're gonna pause real fast and look up the ring tempting because now we're curious. We're gonna say the final piece, and this is a longer bonus episode than I anticipated, but I think we had more fun than we anticipated too, looking at the
Oh
cards.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll
They
take
they did a really
they.
much better job than I thought they were going to.
I would tend to agree. I was really worried, but in my opinion, it really all matched. So let's look up this mechanic. Okay, so I just quickly read about the ring mechanics and it's a lot. So I'm only going to talk about the ring tempts you. So you get benefits from the ring, but you also get the ring tempting you. And this is
Is
the
this for
this
anyone who has a ring, or is it?
this is for anyone, period. If your card says the ring tempts you, this is what you do. Because a brief overstudy is you can use any target creature as the ring bearer
Oh,
and get the benefits of the ring, but you also have
the curses
the
of the
curses. Yeah. So as it tempts you, so as the ring tempts you, you get an emblem named the ring if you don't have one. Then your emblem gains its next ability, and you choose a creature to control to become or remain your ring bearer. Um, the ring can tempt you even if you don't control a creature. The ring gains its abilities in order from top to bottom. Once it gains an ability, it has that ability for the rest of the game. Each time the ring tempts you,
enemy.
you must choose a creature if you control one. Each player can have only one emblem named the ring and only one ring bearer at a time. So then it goes on to the ring. Your ring bearer is a legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it at the end of combat. Whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to player, each opponent loses 3 life. So that's cool for commander. But I'm not really seeing much like of the
You're recording.
I know I'm recording. um I was just seeing because it's like it still doesn't tell me what the tempting is.
Well,
Okay, well, All right, that's as far as I'm going to read into it. But okay,
All right.
so
This has been fun.
yeah, that was a lot more fun than I anticipated. So, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I'm gonna put pictures of all the cards that we talked about up on Twitter and Patreon, so that way you guys can see the artwork as well. We'll see how well the shinies come out, but
Right.
and then like I said, the last and I'll say it in the main episode too that's going to be coming out. It looks like we had some technical difficulties. I only just found out today that it didn't post correctly, and it, yeah, just technical difficulties as usual. So once once that's all figured out, that's going to come out right away, and then this one will come out still supposedly on schedule the Tuesday after we record this, which will theoretically be, what date is that? It's so July 18th.